Hi everyone, my name is Oksana, I'm from Sigma Software.
Hello, I'm Nastya and I am a tutor at Tinkerteens School.
Sigma Software is a global company that provides software development services for customers worldwide. We have more than 2,000 specialists and many of them work as software developers. That's why we understand how crucial it is to invest in educational coding programs such as
Code Week. Code Week is an international movement that encourages both children and adults to explore the world of technology. This year, Sigma Software and Tinkerteens School have teamed up to share their coding expertise with school-aged children. We have created several videos where we will delve into the fundamentals of programming together. For our younger prodigies, we'll be using Scratch, while our older students will create their very own games in Construct 3.
By the way, you can join our hackathon and win amazing prizes from Sigma Software and
Tinkerteens School.
For that you have to watch all the tutorials, create your own game and send it to the organizers.
So, let's create, let's innovate, let's code. Join us for the Code Week and we'll see you at the hackathon.
Bye-bye!
In this video, we will learn how to create a game in Construct 3. After watching this video, you can participate in our hackathon and take a chance to win some awesome prizes sponsored by Tinkerteens and Sigma Software. So, let's start. In any browser, open a new tab and let's type Construct 3. Let's open this link, construct.net. First, we need to register on this platform, so let's click on this button, and now we need to create a username. It should be a unique username, so let me type something like this. After this, you need to think of the password. Your password should have at least 8 characters in it. You should have both uppercase and lowercase letters, and also at least one special symbol. And then you also need to enter your email. After this, you need to confirm that you agree to the terms and conditions, and you need to confirm that you are at least 16 years old or have your parents' or your guardian's permission to use this website. Then let's click on Let's Go. After registering, let's click Launch Construct 3 and launch the guided tour. You will see this page. On the left, you will see a list of recent projects. If this is the first time you're working in Construct 3, probably you will just see an empty list here. And let's click on a new button here to create a new project. Today we will create a platformer game. For the hackathon, you don't have to create a platformer. You can create any kind of game. We will just use a platformer as an example to show the basics of Construct 3. So in the name field, I will type platformer game. You can leave the rest of the settings unchanged. Now let's click on Create. In the middle, you will see this white rectangle. This is your layout. On the layout, we will place images, our characters, the background, and other objects. On the left, you will see the Properties menu. Each object in Construct 3 has its properties. For example, if you click on the layout, you will see layout properties on the left. We can see its name, event sheet. You can also see its size and change it if needed. For example, if you want to change your layout wider, you can increase its width. And now you can see that my layout got a bit wider. I will change it back to its original size. Currently, our layout is zoomed in. If you want to zoom out to see it fully, you can click on the Control button on your keyboard and press minus at the same time. And now you will see your full layout. If you want to zoom in, you need to click Control and plus sign to zoom in. In the menu on the right, you will see your project resources. So there are several folders. The first one is for layouts. You can have more than one layout in your game. By default, we have just one layout. The events sheet are attached to the layouts. So for one layout, we have one event sheet. Let's click twice on the event sheet and we'll see this tab here. Events let you control the logic of your game. We don't have events now, but let's take a look at this example that we have in the center of this page. So events consist of two parts, conditions and actions. In the conditions, we specify what should trigger the action. In this example, the condition is if bullet on collision with monster. So if bullet collides with the monster, we will do two actions. The first one is monster destroy, the other one is bullet destroy. This is just an example of an event you can add in Construct 3. In this tutorial, we will also learn how to add our own events. In this menu on the right, we also have object types. Object types are all the objects, images, characters, platforms, and so on that you add onto a layout. Currently, we have no object type because our layout is empty, but when we start adding images onto our layout, we will see them in this folder as well. You can also add sounds to your game, music, videos, and use fonts. So let's click on the Layout tab and switch back to our layout. First of all, let's add a background for our game. I want to use a space background for my game. So in a new tab in my browser, I will type space background and will search for some images that I could use for my game. For example, I like this image. So if you want to add an image onto your layout, you can just drag it, click on it, and drag it all the way to the tab where your game is open. I will put it in the left-right corner right here. And now I need to stretch this image over the whole layout. If you click on the image, you can see these little squares there. And if you drag the image by these squares, you will see that it starts expanding. However, if you just drag your image using these little squares, your image will lose its initial proportions and it will look a bit distorted. So in order to keep the proportions, you can press Shift on your keyboard and use these squares to make your image larger. And in this way, your image won't look distorted. So we will keep its initial proportions. Great. After we have added the image, we can see it in this object types folder. Let's change its name to something shorter and more clear. So on the left, in the properties menu, in the name field, I will type background. Now let's also lock the background so that it doesn't move anymore. Right-click on the layout, choose lock, and click lock selection. Now your background won't move anymore. After this, let's add some platforms onto our game as well. In Chrome, I will type platforms for game PNG. And let's find some platforms that I could use for my game. For example, I like this platform. However, you see that we have this white background around the platform as well, and we don't want to have it. So there are lots of services on the internet that you can use to remove the background. One of them is remove.pg. So let's go to this website, and now let's drag your image to remove PG. And after removing the background, you can download this image. And then you just need to drag your image from downloads onto your layout again, like this. We have added a platform onto our game, however, it's a bit small, so let's make it a bit larger. I'll press Shift and drag the platform by one of its corners, like this. Great, and now we have the platform in our game. Let's make a few more platforms. So if you right-click on the platform, you can click on the copy icon, and then right-click again anywhere else, and click Paste. And let's create 3 platforms, like this. After this, we will also need to put a character in our game. So I have already prepared an image of an astronaut, which I will use as the character. So I will just drag that image from File Explorer and put it onto my layout, like this. I will make my astronaut a bit larger as well. Great. And also on this second and the third platform, I want to put this space gun, and then we will learn how to make your astronaut collect these items. I will make the space gun a little bit smaller, like this, and I will also copy it and place the same space gun on the second platform as well. Great. Now let's try running our game by clicking on this button here and see what happens. The first problem we notice is that we don't actually see the astronaut, we don't see the platform, we only see a small part of the background. So let's see why this is happening. If you zoom in a bit, you will notice this dotted dashed line in the corner of your layout. This is your camera focus. So by default, you will see only this little part of your layout in your game. If you want the camera to follow the character, we should click on an astronaut, and in the Properties menu, find the Behavior section and add a special behavior for our character. So let's click Add New Behavior and choose Scroll To. At the bottom, you can also see the description. Scroll To, always center the view on this object. Let's close this window and try running the game again. And now we see that we can see the astronaut, we can see the platforms, and we can see the space gun as well. However, our character can't move right now. So if I click on the left arrow key or right arrow key, my character doesn't move. So if we want our character to move and jump, we need to add another behavior for the astronaut. So in the properties, let's go to behaviors again and add a new behavior, which is called platform. Click Add, and now let's run our game again. You see that our character is now fallen through the platform. Why this is happening? The problem is that by default, all the objects in our game are not solid. So they don't act as solid object, and that's why the astronaut just falls through this platform. So if we want an astronaut to be able to stand on the platform, we need to make sure that our platforms are solid objects. So let's click on the platform, and let's also give it a different name. Let's call it just platform. And then in the behavior section, let's add a behavior for the platform. The behavior is called solid. So let's click Add. And now if we run our program again, you can see that our character is no longer fallen through the platforms. However, it seems like the astronaut is not walking on the platforms. It looks like it's just flying over them. So let's close this window and see why this is happening. Double click on the astronaut, and in this editor, let's click on this icon, edit the collision polygon. So the collision polygon defines the border of your character. And you can see that even though the actual borders of our character, the astronaut, is his body, we have the square around him, which are his borders, And that's why when we touch other objects, we actually touch them at these borders instead of the actual body of the astronaut. So let's adjust this polygon and make it more precise by dragging these squares closer to the astronaut. If you need to add more points, you can click twice on this square and you will add more points. So let's make this a bit more precise. Like this. Now let's close this editor and let's also check the platforms. So let's adjust the polygon for the platform as well. Let's make it a bit more accurate too. It's not perfect, but I think this will do for now. And let's close the editor. Now let's play the game again. And now we see that a character is standing on the platform. We can jump like this onto the platform. Great. And we can also fall down. Great. So if you click on an astronaut, you can also adjust his speed and jump strength. So in the properties menu, let's find the behavior section and let's change the max speed to maybe 600 and jump strength to 800. After this, if you run the game again, you will notice that our character is a bit faster and it can jump a bit higher. Now, let's also check the collision polygon for our space gun and make it a bit accurate as well. So I will adjust this polygon too. Like this. And let's close this editor. Now, let's learn how to make our astronaut collect the space guns. So I want my astronaut to jump onto the platform, and if the astronaut touches the space gun, I want it to disappear. So for this, we'll go to Event Sheet, and we'll add our first event in this game. We click Add Event, and first, we want to check if the astronaut touches the space gun. So we'll click Astronaut and search for on collision with another object. Now we need to choose the object with which we collide. This is the space gun. I click OK and done. Then I need to add an action. If astronaut touches the space gun, we want the space gun to disappear. So we click on the space gun and choose Destroy. Let's test this. Great. So now when we jump to the platform and touch the space gun, it disappears. Great. Another thing that we can notice is when we move to the left, our astronaut still looks to the right direction. So let's also learn how to change this. First, let's go to our layout and right-click on it and choose Insert New Object. We need to add the keyboard to our layout. Then we'll go to Event Sheet and we'll add an event, which is keyboard, and click on Key Pressed. So if we press now the left arrow key on the keyboard, click OK. So when we press the left arrow key on the keyboard, we want the astronaut image to be mirrored. So we want an astronaut to look to the left. So we'll add an action, astronaut, and we'll find this action set mirrored, and we will say mirrored. And if we press the right arrow key, we don't want the astronaut image to be mirrored. So let another event, keyboard, on key press next, key press next, then we click to choose, right arrow, click OK, done. And in this case, the astronaut image won't be mirrored. So we click set mirrored, not mirrored, and click done. Let's try running our game again. And now you see that if I press the left arrow key, our astronaut looks to the left, and if I press the right arrow key, it looks to the right. Great. And that's it for our game. After you have completed your project, you need to save it onto your computer and send it to us via email. So to save your project, click on this icon here and save it somewhere in your folder on the computer. So let's call it Platformer Game. After saving your project, open your email client, and I will click on Compose. And in the to field, we need to specify our email. It's hello tinkerteens@gmail.com. In the subject, you need to enter your name, last name, and the date of birth. So I will type my date of birth. And finally, you need to attach your project to your email. You need to click on this icon here and go to the folder on your computer where you saved your project, open it, and wait for it to attach to your email. After this, just click send, and that will be it. That's the end of the tutorial. We wish you luck, and we're looking forward to seeing your project. Thank you. Bye-bye.